time now to join Olamide Odekunle for Trending Now. Olamide, good morning. We are talking about counterfeit drugs and expired products. It's become a menace. I wonder if you've had any encounter.
It really has. Just the other day, I reported on that, the NAFDAC story, you know, the ban of this same cemetery market. It's very, very scary, and it is a public health risk. And I'm happy that this is a continuing conversation that we're constantly having.
Right.
Shouldn't be taken for lightly at all. So I'm happy about that.
Right. Take it over now.
Gladly. As usual, TVC has a finger on the pulse. And if it's trending, then we are definitely going to be talking about it on here. In our first story, Governor Abiodun has declared that no Sharia court is legally recognized in Ogun State, emphasizing that only constitutionally established courts have jurisdiction. Now, this follows a widely circulated notice that announced the launch of a Sharia court in the state as well as Ekiti. Now, the government has ordered those behind it to cease operations immediately, and they reaffirm that Nigeria remains a secular state governed by constitutional law. Nigeria is a secular state as well as a multi-faith nation, and so we have to question the need for parallel legal systems when the Nigerian constitution exists, and we also operate under the rule of law. But we will take some tweets now. In our first tweet, Big Tim says, Muslims should not take this to heart. Constitutions have to be respected. We are all one. Now that is how to respectfully share your opinion. The Duke of Nigeria says, Abiodun did not issue warning about skull mining and ritual killing in Ogun, but he was quick to oppose Sharia courts in Ogun. Ashiwaju Oladimeji tweets. Prof. Ganucci tweets, we will keep resisting any form of Sharia in Yoruba land. This is not an Arab land. We are Yoruba. Very interesting conversation. Ashiwaju Oladimeji tweets, explicitly stated, the governor is simply following the provisions of the constitution, which he swore an oath to protect. I don't know about you guys, but I operate under the rule of law, the Nigerian constitution above all. In our next story, I have some good news for you guys. The federal government has donated 30 million naira to the family of Taiwo Akinkunmi, the man who designed Nigeria's national flag. Now, Pa Akinkunmi, as he was commonly called, passed away at 87 years old on August 30th, 2023. And the Nigerian government decided to honor him for his legacy. Now, the check was presented in Ibadan by the National Orientation Agency officials, Lanre Isa Onilu and Olukemi Afolayan, on behalf of the government. This is Pa Akinkunmi. May he so rest in peace. And this is the check that that was bestowed upon his family. I'd love to take a look at what social media has to say. Flourish says, now that is good news. It's supposed to be 200 million naira. I agree. They need to write him into the national budget. DND Clone says, the man who did the good job did not enjoy the money. Also, please, Nigerian government, remember pension people too and retired military men and women. Graduate says, medicine after death. Grim. And finally, Diadem had this to say. Appreciating someone like this in his absence is just way too valueless. Where was the FG over this year? This is more like watching a man starve to death and later take food to his grave. It is of no use. I think this really raises the question, should we honor our heroes while they are alive, or should we lay flowers at their grave posthumously? What do you guys think about this, Brian and Veronica? I'm very curious.
Give people their flowers when they are alive.
Absolutely.
My perspective, because at some point the families were waiting on the state government on the state funeral that Taiwo Akinkunmi was supposed to have been given, but that never happened. And saying now that they are receiving 30 million naira, well, it's good for the extended family, but the man who should have benefited because of his effort is gone. So I really don't know why we did this, but I think we should honor people while they are alive. We can immortalize them afterwards, but while they're alive.
Absolutely, absolutely. Always honor people while they're alive, but we like to do things posthumously in Nigeria. A very quick word on Sharia law. Oftentimes, I guess people they have this misconception about maybe Sharia law is about cutting hands, cutting the head, or some of the things you see the Taliban do in Afghanistan and all of those things. Those are not Sharia law. It's actually based on For instance, the sukuk banking is an offshoot of Sharia law, non-interest banking. I lend you money. It is exact money that I lend you that I will collect back from you without any interest. It collects from those who are wealthy through taxation to ensure that people are rich and all of that. But then in a secular state like Nigeria, it has to be subjected to debate, and then it's also subjected to the rule of law, the constitutional rule of law. Sharia law is actually meant for Muslims. It's not meant for Christians, not meant for anybody. So it shouldn't be a subject of conversation, disagreement and all of that. So
I guess it's also because of Nigeria's past. There's been an incident where in a particular state in the north, some persons witnessed the cutting of hands and all of that based on this same law. So it's subject to debate.
It's actually based on what media is actually saying. But then reading further, you see that it's not all of this. Yeah.
All right. Go ahead now.
Thank you guys for your insightful thoughts as always. In international news, the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, has signed an executive order to halt funding and promotion of gender transitions for anyone under the age of 19. Now, this order targets treatments such as puberty blockers, hormone therapy, and surgical procedures. This move is expected to face a lot of legal red tape because there's so many minors who are transitioning genders, and they're also suffering from gender dysphoria. Supporters are calling it a step to protect minors, while critics are arguing that it restricts essential healthcare rights of these minors. He's taking a strong stance against the West, against the woke agenda, I will say that. Not the Beat tweeted, "While I'm also happy about this, it's not yet time to celebrate. Legislation is the only proper solution to this." James A. Freeman said, "Bam! Letting kids grow up and parents to support that growth. No more pushing irreversible changes to those unqualified to decide." This is a very, very tricky one. We're talking about young people who are suffering from gender dysphoria and going through sex changes or gender changes that they don't have any clue about.
We do not have time. Our time is up on the program. I know there's so much to say about all of these topics, but no time right now. But thank you again for those stories.
You're welcome.
Tweets.